France are in a shambles. I don't think they can win the competition, so they want to be out of it as quickly as possible. If Tonga hadn't lost to Canada, they'd have been put out of their misery nice and early and would be home ready for a top 14 game this weekend, away, as far away from a coach they don't seem to like. But as we've seen with various issues, there might be a misrepresentation, there might be harmony, it might be a mountain out of a molehill, but it doesn't seem that way. Their levels of performance, perhaps it was a French thing, believing they'd already qualified. Why bother getting hurt against the Tongans? They're all fit and they're all ready for selection. A lot of big teams, Francois Steyn for example, hurt himself playing against Samoa when the game was won. France will say, well, look at him, he's gone home, we're still here, we're fine. So but I just don't buy that they've got this big game in them. I was there, I watched in 1999, I saw 2007 obviously on the television, and they've had this ability to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I don't see it with this team. I think they're mentally fragile. I think a couple of good scrums early, the pack will give up and go home, and as soon as the pack give up and go home, there isn't a French back in the world who will hang around if the forwards aren't interested. They take their lead from those guys, and if it doesn't rain, I think England will turn them over by 12-15 points. I think it's semi-final time, absolutely.
Ireland and Wales both played terrifically, haven't they?
Yeah, impossible to call. The only thing I would say for the Betfair guys, if there's any sort of handicap, if you can find any team with any value, with any handicap, back them, because this is going to be 80th minute stuff. We drop goal, penalty, missed drop goal. This will be 17-16, 25-24. Pick any number, pick any two numbers, but make sure they're only 1 point apart. I think both sides have been brilliant. I think England and France are fortunate that neither of them are playing these two teams. They are the two strongest sides in the bottom half of the draw. But I'm still backing England to make a final. I mean, to talk about complete oxymoron, because I think we have the ability to get to a semi-final, and I think the map changes once you get to a semi-final. And to have guys who've won it, to have guys who've been there in 2007 and beaten France in Paris in a French World Cup, you just can't underestimate that. So they might be the two best teams in the competition, in the bottom half of the draw, but that doesn't mean the winner goes to the final.
And who are they going to meet in the final? I know you've tipped New Zealand all the way to get to that final, but now no Dan Carter. How much of a blow is that to their hopes?
Yeah, it's a massive blow. So he's a game changer. He's a match winner. He's a cool head when all those around you have lost theirs. He plays in the quarter-final in 2007, or he doesn't go off injured on the 50-minute mark. New Zealand win the World Cup in 2007. He's absolutely critical to them. They've got a fullback. Colin Slade's a half-decent player, but he ain't Dan Carter. They've got a fullback. They're at home. They've got a fullback. I think they've got... I keep going back to Auckland, Eden Park, and being at home, and the fact that they just don't lose there. Yes, you'll get slightly better value, but those of you who are on New Zealand, don't start laying them now. I still think they're the side. They're the side to beat. I think they'll overcome Argentina quite convincingly. Argentina haven't quite got what they had in 2007. They might make it quite difficult for a first half, but I expect New Zealand to run out. I think there are two quarter-finals that will be quite convincing, New Zealand and England. I think there are two others at quarter-finals which you might as well toss a coin, and the value is in the handicap betting.
And who, depending on who comes out of that, South Africa, Australia, which one of those two sides have got a better chance of beating New Zealand in a semi-final?
Both similar. Neither of those sides fit. The great thing about the All Blacks, or the hardest thing about the All Blacks to beat, is overcoming the mental demons of they're wearing black, they're doing the haka, we don't beat these teams. And the generations of doubt, the generations of naysayers, the generations of players who found it impossible to achieve, feeds through to the current team. What Australia and South Africa don't have is that mental baggage. Both sides will stand in a tunnel believing they can win. So they will go out there. I don't think they will, but both sides will believe they can.
And you think it's an England-New Zealand final then, which you think New Zealand might win?
Well, betting, I suppose, like selection, you can't cut your nose off to spite your face and just stick with what you've gone with at the start of the tournament. But I went with New Zealand-England before the final started. I'm going to stick with New Zealand-England because not that much has changed. I never thought England would set the world on fire, and I didn't see the Carter injury coming, but the strength and depth of that squad and the home advantage keeps coming back to those guys. So I still think New Zealand will lift the trophy and beating us in the final. I hope so, because I'm going out there next week and I don't want to meet England on a plane coming back the other way. Otherwise I've got some spare tickets.